with a divided thoughts on the zoning arrangement within the party, PDP. Where lies the future of the PDP amidst party stands that no such arrangement has been reached? We speak with Governor Ifeanyi Okowa tonight. And the APC's 3-decade rule agenda gets us talking too. How does the ruling party hope to hold onto power with competition from opposition parties? Hello everyone and welcome to Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimbaloya, Channels Television's global headquarters in Lagos, Nigeria. Tonight we engage in some very critical national issues and we have a special guest on the program. Do stay with us everyone. But first, before we get started with the conversations, let's check out some of your stories on our political roundup.
The federal government has been explaining reasons behind Nigeria's low rating on the Transparency International Corruption Perception Index, blaming it on gaps and opaqueness in doing business in the country. The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, says reforms have been initiated, particularly in the port sector, to enhance more transparency in the system.
We backed on various reforms at the sea, at our seaport, so that our rating will improve.
In the aftermath of the violent House of Assembly by-election in Ekiti State, another hospitalized victim has died. The latest death recorded in the incident is a policewoman shot in the neck by political thugs at a polling unit on election day. The Ekiti State Police has arrested 3 suspects in connection to the shootings that occurred during the by-election on Saturday.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. So tonight, a few issues are up for discussion, and part of it is the security situation in the country. Also, some thoughts will be shared about the major opposition party, PDP. The People's Democratic Party yesterday clarified its position on the zoning arrangement and culture it has devised over the past years in deciding on who becomes Nigeria's president. The party said the PDP is yet to adopt any position on the zoning ahead of the 2023 presidential elections. Tonight, we have the governor of Delta State, Senator Ifeanyi Okowa, to speak to us on some national issues, on issues of security, the economy, and the way forward for this nation, and also on some political matters. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, Governor Ifeanyi Okowa, for joining us tonight on the program. But I must say, congratulations on the outing today where you commissioned those projects. Well, let me start this conversation by talking about the issue in Delta State. You promised to build a stronger Delta, and you also tagged your agenda Smart Delta. In your speech for a second term in office, you said, and I quote you, "The oath of office I just took is more than an official function or constitutional requirement. It is a covenant between us and a covenant to build a stronger Delta in which we can freely and confidently pursue our dreams and happiness in a safe and secure environment." End of quote. Those are some of your words on your first day as the second-term governor in Delta State. But there is a growing concern, Governor, about poverty in the rural areas, not only in Delta State, in the Niger Delta region. Infrastructure is a major challenge, the lack of it, I mean, and environmental issues. How do you hope to fill these gaps?
Thank you, sir, for having me on your program. In the first instance, there's a lot being done in Delta State. I know that we have challenges nationally, but in Delta State, a lot is going on in terms of infrastructure development. A lot is going on in terms of empowering our youth through various programs, through our skill acquisition, entrepreneurship programs. And a lot is going on in the education sector, in the health sector, in Delta State. So we're doing quite a lot. If you watch the poverty index, you find that Delta State is very well placed in terms of one of the states that has reduced poverty as much as is feasible within the economic space that we have in the country today. If you watch the infrastructure development in terms of road development, development of schools, rebuilding of our hospitals, and the health insurance scheme that is being run by Delta State, it tests quite a lot. And now we're taking a bold step to even upgrade some of our higher institutions to universities, to create greater space for our children to be able to find their dreams and to be able to live to their dreams. So a lot is truly going on in trying to address issues of poverty, which is very important. We have had a lot of programs being set up. First is the YAGEP program, the Youth Agriculture Entrepreneurship Program, and then the Skills Training Entrepreneurship Program. We've graduated a lot of youths who are currently entrepreneurs, because we take them to start, we provide everything, and we monitor and mentor them to succeed. We have started special programs through the Youth Ministry. What's called the Rural Youth Skills Acquisition Program is ongoing. We are graduating the first set of people next week, 776 youths, and we are going to provide them with starter packs and help them to continue to monitor and mentor them to success stories. Just last week here, one of our leaders, the former Senate President Okowa Saraki, was here at the graduation ceremony of 437 girl-child entrepreneurs who have been trained and have been started with their starter packs now. And these people, the beauty of it is not just providing the training and the starter pack, we continue to follow them until they become success stories. Several thousands of these people have been trained, and that's why in the last poverty index, you find that Delta State is rated very high among the states that have actually tried to bridge the gap and ensure that a lot of people are leaving the poverty bracket. We have so many other programs that is impacting strongly on our youths. And even in the riverine areas, from the programs that we've had to start developing cities within the riverine areas, so that there are some of us as cities now we can boast of within the riverine area, where if you go into those places, they have all their roads paved, they have great activities going on, and you would not even believe that you have such kind of cities within the riverine area, what we generally call the creeks, where most of the oils come from. If you go to places like Burutu town, if you go to places like Okorenkoko, you go to Ogulaha, you go to Kurutie, you go to Benekuku, then you go to Oborode. A lot is happening in all those places. We've even had to construct a 19.8 kilometer road in the riverine. It was commissioned by Mr. Vice President, connecting 4 different villages that truly house oil facilities in the nation. It's quite a lot that is being done. And it's not just the road development. We're providing them with schools, we're providing them with health insurance, and a lot is truly going on.
Because, I mean, one of the things that you also promised is the attention that you're going to pay to the rural areas and the issues of jobs, because the joblessness is in the past caused restiveness in the Niger Delta. Well, you've touched on that, but one major thing right now on the minds of a lot of Deltans, especially those who are living in some vulnerable areas, the rains are here, and in the past we've seen floods sweeping away communities. What are the hopes of those who are vulnerable in that area? Have you started thinking about how to rescue and make sure that flood this time around will not cause devastation in some Delta State communities?
Yeah, that is a very disturbing problem. It's not a problem that is limited to Delta State, because what we continue to see in our nation today is that there's a lot of rainfall coming in. But more importantly, by the time you have, our waters connect beyond this nation, and we have dams. And when dams are released in the countries that are neighboring to us, there's a lot of water flow and everything goes down to settle down the delta area. So that is quite an issue. We have made suggestions, and I hope that the Federal Ministry of Environment and Water Resources are finding something to do, because people have suggested that it will be necessary to build buffer dams in order to slow the inflow of water towards the end of the rainy season, because it always tends to occur between September and October, and it's a huge problem. We're doing the best that we can as a state, but until the buffer dams are constructed and some other mitigating steps are taken at the federal level, we may not be able to address the solutions directly. So what we do is an indirect address to some of the things going on by trying to open up the creeks so that we don't have siltation. Then the waters can now find a way of redistributing themselves. Unfortunately, the river Niger is also heavily silted. There's a need to dredge the Niger after a proper EIA is conducted, so that with the dredging of the Niger, then it can hold more water and will not have the flooding that is going on. But as a state, within the city areas, we've tried to construct a lot of drains to help convey water, flood water the way it ought to be done, like what we call the storm water that we normally have. Within the Asaba area, we've done quite a lot. That's the capital. We are now also looking into the Warri area, and we have started the projects in the Warri area to help drain those places. But for the villages that are on the banks of the river, it's still quite a problem, because what we actually need in that circumstance is to ensure that the river Niger itself holds more water, and the fact that there are buffer dams constructed in such a way that the release of water from the Cameroons and the rest is such that it does not come as a bang on us. It has to be something that is released bit by bit. But unfortunately, those dams have not been constructed. There's been a lot of discourse around it, but I think that the Ministry of Water Resources is doing something, and I hope that they're able to come out with a solution, because until we have that mitigating program to attend to that, we are definitely going to keep on suffering, not because of the rainfall that is within Delta, but because of the excess water that is thrown off from the dams, that releases a lot of water into our state, which we do not have direct control over.
Let me stay a bit more on the issues concerning Delta State. This is perhaps a growing concern, politically speaking. The federal government announced the return of a 4.2 billion pounds Ibori loot, but it will be earmarked for some federal government projects. Some Deltans and lawyers have argued that such funds should be plowed for projects for Delta people. What is your government doing to bring home those monies?
Okay, in the first instance, just to correct the figure, is 4.2 million. 4.2 million pounds, not 4.2 billion, as you say, it's 4.2 million pounds. Yes, we've seen that. I listened to members of the House of Rep represent Delta State. They took a motion which was passed, and that has been communicated. But on our own part, I've spoken with the Attorney General of the Federation. My Attorney General went to have a meeting with him. I think that we are working, and we are likely to come on the same page. We have written a formal letter of protest to Mr. President, which we have also copied the office of the Attorney General. You see, many people will possibly want to see me shout about those things, but I believe in going through a bureaucratic process, and many times we have had successes through that. I believe that ours is to convince the federal government for them to know that actually that money ought to be returned to Delta, or if it's not going to be returned directly to Delta, it must be spent on projects that are within Delta. Otherwise, the people of Delta will feel cheated. So we have approached it in a manner that we think is right, by formally having a meeting, and then we have now put a position on paper and written to Mr. President, and we have made two critical suggestions. return the money for us to apply to projects that we feel will be right. But in that same letter, we have also communicated, because we have seen the MOU that is signed with the British government, and we feel that we needed to approach it in this smart manner for us to be able to get the results. We have also put in that letter projects as an alternate that they can directly release the money to. And those projects we know are quite beneficial to Delta State. So any of the projects that we have suggested to them, we expect that they can, in the alternative, they cannot directly send the money to us because of the situation concerning the MOUs that they signed, that they should assign those monies directly to the contractors who are executing these projects that we have clearly stated on the paper and communicated to Mr. President. I believe we are going to get results.
Are you afraid that maybe, because we understand that this is just some part of a larger funds that is yet to come, and based on the agreement and the talks with the federal government and the UK government, we might be seeing some more money is being repatriated to the country. Are you afraid that Delta State might not be able to benefit directly from this 4.2 million, which we expect that by now it should be back into the country, because we understand that it was supposed to take 2 weeks before it gets into the country because of the agreement signed with the UK government?
I believe, I'm very confident that we are going to have a success story. The way we have gone about it, I believe is in the civil service, in the public service, there are ways of doing communication. Some people say go to court, but we don't believe that. We need to exhaust every means that's available to us bureaucratically, and we believe that we're on the right course. I'm confident that that money will come either directly to Delta State or be applied to projects within Delta State. Because it's the money, as we talk about it today, is some reasonable amount of money, about 2.2 billion in Naira. That is not even going to have any real impact on the projects that they were talking about. But the projects that were suggested to them in Delta State, I believe that they put 2 billion inside, it is something that is going to be creating some reasonable impact in the project that will affect the lives of the people. And if there's any further money being repatriated, we will stay on course through dialogue, through the bureaucratic processes available to us, to ensure that we get our funds directly to Delta or directly to projects in Delta States.
Before we take our first break on the program, Governor, there is a quick one. There is a school of thought from a professor of law, Professor Ojukwu, who is of the belief and opinion that that money cannot go to Delta State because Delta State did not fight for the money, and it might not even that it's coming to Nigeria's the federal government's purse because the money was forfeited to the UK government and not Nigeria nor Delta State as a beneficiary. UK government is doing a favor by repatriating the money to the Nigerian coffers. But how do you deal also with the suspicion that should the money come to Delta State, it might develop wings?
In the first instance, I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not going to join issues with Professor Ojukwu, but I do know that if the money was forfeited to the UK government and the UK government has decided to repatriate the money to Nigeria, we thank them for it. But in the same manner, the relationship created between the two governments of UK and Nigeria, we also expect that the Nigerian government will also do the same thing by being magnanimous to return the money back to source, which is Delta State. And as we said, we have made two suggestions. Return the money directly to us or apply it directly to projects that we feel are of importance that are in Delta State so that Deltans can directly benefit from the repatriated funds. And I don't think anybody can fault that line. So that's the issue. The other issue that if the money comes back to Delta State to develop wings, I don't know how monies can develop wings anyway. That is why we have directly put down projects, free projects where these monies can directly be applied to in such a manner that it is something that you can investigate. Any of the three that they choose, pay the money directly to the contractors, come and see the level of work. The three projects we suggested, work is already being done on those projects, but we are finding it difficult to quickly complete those projects. So if that 2.2 billion is applied to these projects, it will help us scale the percentage of completion, and by the grace of God, I believe that we'll be able to deliver those projects next year. It's not hidden. The projects are the Ughelli-Asaba Road. We have the Sector C, what we call the Sector C1 and C2. Then we also have the Warri Drainage Project, Warri and Uwe drainage projects, where we have already mobilized the contractors. They are working very hard. I recently inspected the project, but if that money is applied to it, then definitely the speed of work by the contractors would increase, and the flooding that we have in Warri and Uwe local governments, Warri South and Uwe, will become a thing of the past in no distant time.
Right.
So we do believe that the monies will be applied appropriately.
Let's take a breather, Governor. We'll be right back, but we will take you up on some national issues like the issue of security and the 2023 politics as being a major controversy in your political party. Everyone, we'll be right back in a moment. Join us again. Welcome back, everyone, to the program. Let's get back to the conversation with Governor Ifeanyi Okowa, the Governor of Delta State. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, Governor of Delta State, for coming on the show tonight. Perhaps on a final note on that issue of the Ibori loot is a question of what would you do should the federal government refuse your offer or your request?
I do believe that with the approach we have undertaken, it's very unlikely that they will refuse the request. It's a strong appeal, and I believe that that appeal, Mr. President, is somebody that we know to support justice, and we believe that with the strong appeal we have made and the reasoning that we have put forth and the alternatives that we have given, that he will not have any reason to turn down our request. I believe that I believe that it's going to be a success story. We are also strongly working with the office of the Attorney General of the Federation, because it may not be the question of law at this instance. It's a question about what is right for the people and what is right in good conscience to be done at this point in time. And I believe that we will be a success story in that.
Okay, we do hope that things will work out, at least to the larger interest of Nigerians. Let's go into some critical matters now. Many leaders of thought are worried and concerns are continuing to grow about the security situation in the country. Yesterday, Governor Autumn said insecurity poses a big threat to 2023 election. Do you have a similar view on this?
Actually, what is going on in the moment in our nation is something to worry about. I believe that many Nigerians are concerned, and I believe that as governments, both the federal government, the state governments, the local governments, and even our traditional institutions, that we all have a role to play. I believe that there is a need for stronger partnership between the various tiers of government, the federal government and the subnational governments, and also that there is a need to communicate more with the people to ensure that we are all on the same page, working together to achieve the same results. This is something very important, because if the insecurity continues to escalate, obviously it will destabilize this nation, and therefore I actually believe that we need to pay greater attention, and that there needs to be greater collaboration between the various agencies in charge of security, both the military, the police, the Department of State Services, and other agencies are involved with the various tiers of government. Sometimes I see that there is a disconnect, and we may have the military or the police speaking in one direction, governors are speaking in another direction, the federal government is speaking in another direction. It's not a time for blame game. It's a time for collaborative efforts and partnership. I found myself, I was in the conference that was organized by the Chief of Defense Staff on Monday. And I believe that this area of discourse is important. The more we communicate with ourselves, and I hope that that will be escalated into the various communities and states, looking into zones where we need to have frank talk. And I believe that in moving forward, everybody has a role to play. The state governments obviously have a lot of role to play because they are very close to the traditional institutions. They are very close to the youths in the various areas, but unfortunately, they don't have a total control of the security agencies in the country. So there has to be a stronger partnership between the federal government, the state, and the security agencies, so in such a manner that everybody plays a role, and that these efforts being put in from the state is probably well understood, and that the states are also properly briefed in such a manner that they buy into whatever programs that the security agencies are undertaking. We have to be on one page so that the suspicions are not there, and I believe that collectively we are able to surmount the problem, but it's going to take time because it's already eating deeper and deeper into the fabric of our nation. Something has to be done urgently. We all must be ready to play our roles because if nothing is done, apparently by 2023, the security situation may get to such high levels that we may not actually be able to truly go into a democratic process. But I think that now with the new set of military chiefs, I'm sure that they have the opportunity to be able to recommunicate and reconnect with the various state governments, and working with the federal government, we hope that we'll be able to improve their capacities and their capabilities, because in going out for this kind of battle, we need a lot of intelligence, but we also need to equip the military in such a manner, along with the police force. We need to equip them in such a manner that they are able to be in a position to be able to regain lost grounds and to be able to fight insurgency without having to lose a lot of men.
I was going to ask you,
the collective effort of the subnational governments would help.
I was going to ask you, because there has been so many debates
please.
and arguments as to the handling of the security situation. Do you have confidence in the political leadership of the country in handling this or arresting the security situation?
My idea in this, as I did say, is that we need to have partnerships. But I don't think that partnership is working well enough. There appears to be some disconnect. Because the federal government has a lot of role to play. The states themselves have a lot of role to play. Of course, the people in the operational field are the military, the Department of State Services, and also the police. Funding is required. And that funding cannot come from the federal government alone. You will recall that there was a time that $1 billion was released. It was a combined effort of both the states and the federal government to release that money. So we need to be sure that, one, there's accountability, things are being done. That may not have been enough to solve the problems, but we need to have a discourse in which we truly can understand what is really needed, what do we lack, what is required, and how can the states and the federal government collaboratively look into this. Ideally, it is supposed to be about the federal government, because this concerns our nation, particularly when we're talking about the insurgency as it is, because the military are actually directly under the federal government and even the police force. But we do know that the states also have a lot of role to play in that partnership for it to work. So I believe that if we can get this partnership to work, we are likely to achieve greater results, both in terms of intelligence gathering, information gathering, and resourcing. Resourcing is very important. So there has to be this strong partnership.
All right, so you are also calling for a national security summit, isn't it?
Yes, but starting first with the people directly at the top. And the people directly at the top will be the federal government, the governors, and the security chiefs coming, locking themselves up in a room and talking truth to power and being able to speak out their minds the way they feel and making their suggestions as to what we think ought to be done. We do not have to come out in the newspapers to begin to talk, because we'll be discouraging our people. What we need to do is to have an in-house thing where we're able to speak to ourselves and to design ways forward in terms of funding the military and being able to provide the necessary environment that will enable them gather enough intelligence for them to be able to deal with the situation. I don't think we have been able to achieve that yet.
Okay.
Then thereafter we can progress to a larger discourse with other stakeholders in the society.
Because you are a former lawmaker, and this is quite important also because this is another angle, because a lot of people believe there needs to be a political and legal solution to this security challenge you are facing. So a lot of people are talking about having some...
Sorry, I'm not hearing you.
Okay, so let me take it again. You are a former lawmaker, and so a lot of people have suggested some legal and political solution to the problem. Today, interestingly, we understand that at the National Assembly, at the Senate, a bill which seeks to decentralize the police and with operational and budgetary powers vested in the zonal offices scaled first reading in the Senate. It looks so much like the multi-layer policing that some governors and some political forces are asking for in the country. Is that the right way
I'm not able to catch you. I'm not able to hear you well.
All right, Governor, let's fix that connection in a moment. But
it appears I've lost you. I'm not able to hear you at all.
Okay, so we'll fix that just a moment. But before we get back to the governor, there is a lot of people, there are people who are also having the view onto some of the conversation that we'll be having tonight. I just wanted to remind you, the view of the governor of Kano State on the issue of 2023 presidency and where it should be zoned to, which one is one of the questions I will be posing to Governor Ifeanyi Okowa in a moment. Take a listen to Governor Ganduje on 2023 and zoning arrangement. Take a listen to him. Do you see your party being able to withstand the heat of 2023? Considering the critics who are saying, economy, things are tough economically. Security-wise, things are not doing good.
Well,
do you think that your party has done well for Nigeria?
I think our party has done well in Nigeria under Muhammadu Buhari if we critically look at how he found Nigeria in terms of the security when he came. The economy too is not only in Nigeria, it's all over the world. So I think 2023, APC will win the election.
Really?
I think so.
You have the assurance?
Yeah, I think.
Why are you this confident, Governor?
Yeah, because...
What gives you the confidence?
Because more people are coming into the party.
You have statistics to back that?
Well, of course. Though we lost some governors because of intra-party problem, but at the same time, some are coming into the party. And also there is a very strong movement now to reconcile the major actors. And I think that is also, making the party stronger. Even though we need to do more. We need to do more on that. But I think the party is conscious of that shortcoming. So I believe it will be resolved. I know there are some, people who, were part of forming the party, but I think there is a dissatisfaction. I think there must be some effort in order to reconcile that. I have the hope for that.
It's interesting. And another trouble that may be brewing in your party is the talk about where should the candidate come from? Who should fly the flag? Or where the person who will fly the flag would come from, considering the unwritten rule of zoning in our politics in Nigeria. You've been in politics for several years, Governor Ganduje.
Yeah.
What do you think would be fair for the APC to decide on whom will fly the flag of the APC in 2023?
Well, I think that is a matter of the party. But all what I know, the zoning system, even though it is not in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, but it's a strategy for winning election. So every party has developed a strategy for winning the election.
We understand now that we have Governor Ifeanyi Okowa back and he can hear us. But I think we need to conclude the conversation. And I'd like you to touch on the issue of internal politics in your political party, PDP. The proposition to throw open the zoning arrangement in your party ahead of 2023 has thrown up a lot of debate and disagreements in your party. Would it be fair to throw it open? If not, where do you think it would be fair to zone the 2023 presidency to?
In the first instance, a committee was set up by the party, which is the right thing, and they came up with their suggestions, their recommendations. We expect that very soon the national chairman will call the National Working Committee, not the National Working Committee, they will call the National Executive Council and will sit and debate on the report that has been submitted by the Bola Mohammed-led committee. I believe that at the end of the meeting of the National Executive Council of the party, we'll be able to take decisions. But for me, I do not fault any decision of the Bola Mohammed-led committee at the moment. People who argue that the presidency should come to the north, some would also argue that it should come to the south. Some are actually asking that they should streamline it and take it to a particular zone or to particular zones. Would realize that there are different levels of argument, but we also do understand that as at today, Nigeria is in a very difficult situation. So sometimes the issue of merit, the issue of the possibility of throwing out the best in the party is something that is also of great importance. Why not neglecting the fact that some people may feel marginalized thus far in the Nigerian equation. But these are all the things we are going to throw up at the level of the National Executive Council of the People's Democratic Party, and collectively we'll be able to take the right decisions at the right time.
Well, I must sincerely thank you, Senator Ifeanyi Okowa, Executive Governor of Delta State. Thank you indeed for joining us tonight and talking to us. Well, let's read this now. The caretaker and the Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee of the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, says it is putting in place mechanisms that will assist the party retain power at the center for at least the next 34 years. Tonight, we have a member of the APC Caretaker Committee, Senator Abba Ali. He joins us from our Abuja studio. Thank you, Senator, for joining us tonight. And let me begin the conversation with you from the point of view of what the national chairman, the governor of Yobe, said yesterday. He said the APC will rule Nigeria for at least another 3 decades. With your party is looking to unseat to stay in power for that long. What gives you the confidence that the opposition might not have its way this time around, perhaps in 2023.
Well, thank you very much for having me. My governor and chairman of APC Caretaker Committee is a seasoned politician. Before becoming a governor, he was the secretary of the APC. I'm sure the words coming out of his mouth are the words that are genuine words that he knows what is happening politically in this country. Yes, I'm sure he made all these statements based on the current situation we find ourselves in the party. First and foremost, excuse me, the party is now undergoing registration of members, revalidation of members, and registering members. You should know that our constitution states that every 6 months there should be a revision of list of members. Unfortunately, we couldn't have done that since 2014. Now we have started that registration, and the result of what has come out of this registration, it what made us and give us the strength that our party is very much as a grassroots. And coming 2023, I'm telling you, APC will be the only formidable party that can hold this country. Our chairman, his statement is right, as far as I'm concerned. I chaired the committee of this registration, and bringing out all the templates and so on and so forth. We have gone down to the grassroots level. We have started, we have about 26,000 polling units and another split units of about 50 something, making it about 180,000 in this country. We, as a party, we thought that we now reach a stage where, as a political party, we should take the lead and create an atmosphere which everybody in the party have a feeling of belonging to the party and aspiring for any position. So what we did, or what we are doing now, in this about 180 polling units, we have placed our register and our registration forms. We have started with 100 per each polling unit, but within 2 days, the enthusiasm of the party members, all that finished. We have supplied again 200 to each polling unit, and that one also, in most places, they have finished that one. And in the final analysis, we have seen the reaction of our people in this country, because they have seen that the party is ready to accommodate everybody and to do the best it can do in the best interest of this nation.
All right. Senator,
Yes.
we are due for another break, but when we come back, there are quite interesting perspectives to what you are saying. For those who have disagreed with your political party about the handling of things in the nation, we come to that when we come back from this break, everyone. Join us again. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Senator Abba Ali, a member of the APC Caretaker Committee, has been talking to us from our Abuja studio. Senator, let me ask you, a former deputy governor of the central bank, Dr. Obadiah Melafia, told China's television today, and I quote what he said. He said, "This is the worst time ever in the history of Nigeria. you cannot even compare with Abacha's time. Abacha's time was a golden era compared with what is happening, end of quote. Those are the words of Dr. Obadiah Melafia. How do you react to these or convince Nigerians about the capacity of your political party that is at the helm of affairs in handling the challenges of this nation?
I think comparing military regime and political regime does not come, is not, a good comparison. I'm telling you that our party is a people's party and is facing all the challenges of this country squarely in the best interest of our nation. In a military regime, you have just decrees. You just draw a decree and then, sign it, and then, the next time you start operating it. In a political regime, you have division of labor, you have the National Assembly, you have the judiciary, and then the executives. So each and every one of them, has a function to do. So comparing these two, I think, is not a fair comparison.
Well, I'm saying you've reacted to what Dr. Melafia said, but in talking to Nigerians about your political parties,
Yes.
How do you convince them about the ability and the capacity to handle the challenges that is facing this country?
Well, let me take you, the whole challenges people are talking about is the security of the nation. Before APC came into power in 2015, the security of this country was down. Boko Haram is all over, occupying 17 local governments in Borno State, bombing Abuja, Lagos, everywhere. Now is a story. It becomes a story. This regime, this government has done a lot to squash that. There is no local government under the Boko Haram. All this sort of harassment and bombing and so on and so forth is no more. It's just a tactical warfare now they are doing, attacking this one, but they are silenced. There is no government. The last government did not do anything. For example, abduction of our students and so on and so forth. You know very well in 2014, our chief of girls was abducted. The government did not do anything until this government came in, and within a short time, 100 of them have been rescued. Now, with the experience we are gaining and so on and so forth, recently some students have been taken in Katsina, in Zamfara and others, but as quickly as possible, the government, rescued all these students. You can see the changes. You can see that the government is working. You can see that the government is facing the challenges squarely. So why don't we appreciate what is happening? I'm sure this government will do the best it can to make sure, this country a safe country.
The PDP seems to be confident about returning to power in 2023. Can you beat them a third time if the race begins in 2023? This time, we will not be having our President Buhari on the ballot.
Muhammad Buhari made the party what it is now. And Buhari has laid a good foundation for the party. What we are doing now is to solidify the successes we have in the government, in the party. As I told you that we are now re-registration and so on and so forth in this country. And it is amazing to see how people are now coming out from all other parties, joining us, because they have the feeling that this is the party for the people, by the people, and for the people. And this is where they can have their security, where they can have their own liberty, where they are free to elect or to elect their leaders and then their representatives. So I'm telling you that I am an old politician, a Second Republic politician. I have seen the First Republic, the Second Republic. I have seen the parties in this country. There is no party in the history of this country which showed interest in developing the party and making the party to be a party of the people, like this APC. So come 2023, if we're alive, I'm telling you what our leader was saying will be a reality. And I'm sure we shall continue to make it possible for everyone, every Nigerian to appreciate what we are doing in this APC. And I'm telling you that if we would continue with the way we have started, the question of timing, to me, is a history. We shall make it.
On a final note, Senator, where would you suggest, because this has been a growing conversation in the different political parties, where would you suggest that power should go in terms of zoning and rotation?
Well, as a party man, I know our party has no zoning arrangement. Why? In our constitution, we decided not to have a zoning arrangement because we believe that every Nigerian matters. Nowhere from which nooks and corner he comes or she comes, once he or she is accepted by the people, we elect him. We take him as a leader. So I think we are now in a 21st century. We should look forward. We should look for any area that will unite this country, not separate this country. So giving a chance to everybody, I think, is the best way to play a politics. But by the way, we are now starting our constitutional review. It all depends upon the people to decide. But as it now, the party has no zoning arrangement. If a candidate comes out from northwest, southeast, northwest, south, you see, and he emerges as a winner, we are going to back him and support him and elect him.
Thank you so much, Senator Abali, a member of the APC Caretaker Committee. Thank you for coming on the show tonight.
Thank you. Thank you.
And that's our show for today, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Kimale. Bye-bye.